Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the All-Star panel. I'm Glenn, one half of Jackie and Glenn. Jackie will be with us a little bit later, but I also have one with me. I'll let her introduce herself. Lovely lady herself. Go ahead,
I
Miss.
am Artika, and I am one half of August Love Story. The invisible Tommy will appear as a real person shortly.
I know how that is. Know how that is. Hey, gonna be a great week this week. We had a lot to talk about on Married at First Sight. This week we saw Dr. Viviana visit the couples, and one thing I'm about to say, Dr. Viviana was kind of honest and upright with majority of the couples, giving them exactly what they needed to spice up their romance in the area they needed to spice up in. Some people had fun with it. Some people thought it was just whack. Let's get started with. I want to start with Steve and Noy because they didn't really seem like they had that much of an issue in this department. I want to get your thoughts on Steve and Noy and how they came off on this episode.
Um, I will start by saying you were right. There wasn't a intimacy issue between the two of them. The intimacy and the not sorry intimacy. The issue still stems back to finances for Noy and Steve. I don't think that they're having any issues with being intimate or vulnerable with each other. I think that Noy has a very rigid viewpoint of what she wants her husband to look like because during the discussion with Dr. Viviana, she was like, what if everything can work out financially for you guys and he's got enough savings to, do whatever he needs to do? Could he be a stay-at-home husband? She's like, no, that's not what I imagined. But as it came to sex, as it came to intimacy, Noy seemed like she was all in on whatever. Like when they talked and they were talking about their fantasies, she said she wanted to have sex in a semi-public place, and Steve was like, I'm the people pleaser. I can do it for you. So I don't think they have issues there. I do think, as I said on our review, Noy is going to have to figure out what her bottom line is for him working, because are you going to be okay if he goes and gets a part-time job at Chick-fil-A because you just want him to get a job? Or is it going to have to be a job in his field? And I know that she's looking at it from you have a huge earning potential.
Mm-hmm.
And he's looking at it from like, I've been there, done it. I don't want to do that anymore. Like, I'm cool where I am.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed. He like, why we keep bringing this up? I'm good. he's like, yo, in his mindset, he is totally fine with being the stay-at-home husband, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because he like, I cook, I clean, I take care of the house, and he even brought it back to her, like, okay, if I didn't do this, who would do it?
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't do it, you don't do it. He'd be like, okay, I do it, but you don't do it. And her thing was, I don't do it because you do it.
Mm-hmm.
And so he tried to, and I thought Steve was like, okay, I'm gonna just stop doing it and see if you do it. So it was like one of those type things where she had to figure out, and she still has to figure out, what do I want my husband to do? And Steve had to figure out, is this gonna work out with me and my wife?
Yeah.
Because like I said, the sexual thing, I had no problem. Steve like, cool, see my public place? Let's do that.
Mm-hmm.
Body shots, hey, look, you look like you ain't done it before, but I've had many body shots on me. So he was like, Steve was like, hey, whatever, hey, whatever's good for the, whatever's good for the goose, good for the gander. It's like we can all go ahead and do this thing together. But again, Noy has to figure out, and Steve has to figure out, what can we do with this money situation? What can make her happy?
And I'm still holding on to the fact, like, people have argued with me in our comment section. I still believe that Steve is a trust fund baby.
Mm-hmm.
Because his dad called him a vagabond. That means that he is a wanderer. It doesn't mean that he is broke.
Right.
Like,
Right.
I think that he has some money saved up, and he's like, and I actually do know a person that's like this. Like, went to college, went to med school, did all this stuff. He's just literally like a year or two off from his trust fund hidden. So he's like, why would I go be a doctor? I don't have to.
Right.
Like, I just gotta ride this way. Like, he's gotten more post post-program certificates and degrees than anybody I know. And it's because he's like, I'm not paying for school. That was an agreement with my parents.
Right.
And I also don't have to go get a job. So he's like this super educated person who's doing a little bit of consulting here, a little bit of consulting there, waiting on his trust fund to hit. And I understand that's what Steve's doing.
I think Steve's doing the same thing. I think Steve also looked at it this way. I would think we discussed in our review that I think Steve is like, okay, I've been gone for 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
I got enough money. Married at first sight is for 2 months, right?
Mm-hmm.
8 weeks. I really don't want to put this girl in my life financially for 8 weeks if it doesn't work out. I don't want to put her. I don't want to have to put her on no life insurance, no health care, none of this stuff. So, and I got enough to spare me another 2 months. My apartment's paid up. They're paying me to be on the show, right? So I'm making some extra bread here. And if it doesn't work out 8 months, if it doesn't work out in 8 weeks, she doesn't know what I make, how much money I need. So if the divorce goes split, she ain't entitled to none of this because I didn't have no job, I didn't have anything. And so we just go ahead and split. I think that's what Steve is thinking. Like, okay, if it doesn't work out, good. Bye. I think by the time we get to the reunion, Steve has a job or Steve is making some good income. Mm-hmm. If they stay together. I think he's just working on an 8-week plan, like everything else in his life. All right, I'm be strategic about this. If it doesn't work out, we split ways.
And I think that the experts know that there's some money somewhere. And I say that because why else would they put an unemployed person on this show to be somebody's spouse? Because if you were unemployed and not making it, that's not an attractive candidate.
Yeah. The only person we came close was, I think it was Matt from the Charlotte season. Mm-hmm. I mean, he played basketball, so they figured he had basketball money saved up from overseas. But as far as the job, I don't think anyone ever really knew what Matt did.
And a lot of people, like, I look at basketball players as being, especially when you play at the professional level, you can have long periods of unemployment because you can always go get a job as a coach. Like, there's so many things that you can always just go do that it's not really a big deal as long as you have a cushion of money.
Yeah. And I think Matt had a cushion. I think Steve has a good cushion. I think Noe, again, we said this last week, they just never had a conversation about what his finances look like. Mm-hmm. I think if she would see what his finances look like and how long it can stretch, I think she might be more comfortable and more apt to be like, you know what, it's okay right now. I'm not bringing that conversation up, but again, she really doesn't address the issue. We noticed she really doesn't address the issue unless somebody else is around. Mm-hmm. She never addresses it.
This is her first time telling him that we've seen.
Yeah.
Hey, I want you to have a job.
And he didn't look like he was happy to get one either. Mm-mm. He didn't seem like he was like, I don't know about that. And because he brought back, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and who's gonna do this, who's gonna do that. She's like, I don't care. I really don't care. Get a job.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't think Brad's gonna get it. We'll see. I don't think he's gonna get one. Not no 9 to 5. But like I said, my wife says this all the time. At least if it's not a job 9 to 5, at least produce the income. Let me see the income, whether it's building websites, consulting somebody on how to build a website, making phone calls throughout the day. 25, 30 phone calls throughout the day and seeing if you potentially getting there. And that's what I would like them to see show us. What is Steve doing throughout the day? So it can not be a issue with the conversation. I think that's one of the things. I think she wants to see him do something. I don't think she sees him do anything.
Yeah. And I mentioned in our review as well that I think that Noe needs to provide a number.
Yeah.
Like, Steve, can you bring in $5,000 a month? Can you bring in $3,500 a month? Like, she needs to give him a number, and that's going to make her feel better about the situation, and they can shoot for that number. And I mean, what if he can do that? What if he's like this amazing photographer? Because he did mention photography is one of his things. He can do 2 weddings a month and be done.
Right. And she hasn't figured out the number. I think they haven't sat down and budget to know what that number is. It's not like Jose where they, he got everything written down. They have to write everything down and figure out what that number is. Because right now, you figure they live it on Married at First Sight. Maybe the car payment. I don't know how the house situation works out, but again, they're living on they have to figure out what their budget is if they stay together. And I think Steve is banking on, let me just keep my money until see if this thing works out. You know, see what it works out. Let's move on to this couple right here. Let's move on to Michael and Jasmina because they're a mess. I'm sorry, they are a mess. Your thoughts on Michael and Jasmina? We'll get to the whole intimacy stuff. Michael and Jasmina.
Jasmina is doing exactly what she is accusing Michael of doing. Like, she's interrupting, she's being rude, she's being aggressive. And I mean, it's funny how we watch these shows and we were all at the beginning like, oh my God, Michael's a liar about the roommate situation. And we're like, Michael lied one time. At this point, because Jasmina is just being such a difficult spouse for him. He's having a hard time just even communicating with her about much of anything. It's really to the point where it's like, okay, Jasmina, these are the things. You sit down with Dr. Viviana, you have these conversations with her, you tell her, okay, these are the things that I don't like. You're pointing your finger back at Michael. I can deal with the finger pointing back at Michael because it's harder for us to see ourselves than it is for us to see the issues of someone else. However, you sit down during this conversation with Dr. Viviana. She tells you that, you guys need to figure out a better way to communicate. I'm going to suggest journaling. She's like, great. And as soon as Dr. Viviana leaves, I'm not doing it. You can do it, but I'm not doing it. I don't have a communication issue. The same person that doesn't have a communication issue had to stop the conversation, get up and leave so that she doesn't go, blow up on this man about something as simple as, I think we should both journal. You're like, I'm not doing it. And he's like, well, I mean, it's not working. She's like, no, you're not working. And she just can't understand that she is a part of this union and she needs to work at it too. You got anything for me? I know you're eating your ice cream. Sorry, I caught you mid.
I ain't mad at you.
Nah. Jasmina, man, I feel for Michael, man. As much as I wanted to say it was his fault, it's not. Because
this time.
Yeah, this time. Because he's trying. I like the yoga part. The yoga seemed like it was gonna be helpful. Them being close to each other and actually, touching each other. But I don't think Jasmina understands what it means to communicate with somebody and what he was trying to say when he was like, hey, she gave us some advice. Let's do it with the journaling thing. She was just like, it's almost like she set up in her mind that she doesn't want to go through with this. So she's going to do the bare minimum to make it through the weeks. And then when it's time for decision day, she'll just say no and move on with her life. That's what it seems like, because anybody that's trying to make something work will try anything. But for her to just be like no to the journaling, I don't think is wrong. That's an issue. That's a problem. And yeah, man, it's Jasmina and not Michael. That's surprising to say.
I think it is. I think when you watch this episode, and it really wasn't even about the journaling, whether it was his assignment or her assignment. He was like, whatever we're doing is not working, right? Mm-hmm. So let's try something different because, I can't get a word in edgewise. You can't get a word in edgewise. Let's try something different, right? It is truly about trying anything at this point. Bruh's throwing stuff to the wall and see what can stick, right? If journaling makes us happy, let's throw it to the wall, right? If us speaking in the middle of the night makes us happy, let's throw it to the wall. If us talking early in the morning makes it work, let's see if that works. He at the point now that whatever it is, let's try to get it fixed because I truly think he wants to be married. I truly think he wants to be with this woman. He likes this woman, right? He wants to be with it, but there's some things that he just can't I'm trying anything. You can see the frustration on his face when it does not work because he was like, "What you leaving for?" Basically, he was like, "Yo, what you getting up mad for?" Because I'm talking about journaling. Why? It's not even that deep. She made something that wasn't that deep. And then the way that she said it, well, you can, and I laughed at this because I thought it was the funniest thing. But if you want to journal, you can journal. And I'll just sit there and read. Like, he was a second grader. Well, whenever you get finished with your assignment, bring it back to my desk and I can read it for you. Right? And then she probably pull out the red pen. And it's like, you ain't got a sentence here. All right, no period here. This is a run on. This right here needs a question. I mean, to me, it's just when she talks to him, and if you even look at the clip, she was patting him on his leg like he was a little kid when she was saying it. So it's like she's so condescending to this man, and all he's trying to do is like trying to make this thing work. And I'm not saying it seemed like production gave us the first couple of weeks. It was all Mike. Really, we haven't really seen Michael do anything, right?
Nah.
We heard her say Michael did all this. Besides, like you said, besides the roommate thing, what really has Michael did to really deserve this treatment that she's giving him? Like, she's not even trying. What towards the end of
the
yeah.
Oh, besides that. Oh, okay.
Yeah, besides the lie, what did he do? You know? I mean, he can't be romantic with her because, again, every time he tries, it's something that comes up. And they've been beefing since day one. So you've been beefing since day one to somebody that you don't even know. And he's not trying to be romantic. I mean, it'd be interesting to see next week, the month anniversary, what actually they do. Because these two right here, it's even with the yoga, she appreciated it. She liked it. And he was touchy-feely and it made her feel good. But she said, that's the closest I felt to him. And it made my heart beat and flutter. Well, he could have been touching you the whole time. Right? I mean, my thing is like, why you got to go to a tantric yoga specialist to cut up on the couch? Or for you to sit in his lap? Or for you to let him put his hand on your back, rub my back while I go to sleep? Something, right? So he can just put hands on her in a good way, not in a bad way. I don't want to say put hands on her like that because people like put the paws, but put hands on her in a good way.
Yeah, I just want to say the same thing. I was very, I don't even know if I want to say very surprised, but when Dr. Viviana talked to them and she was like, you know, are y'all kissing, hugging, holding hands, anything? And they was like, no. I was like, y'all not even holding hands a little bit? Like, he can't touch you a little bit? But you said you like him, that you're attracted to him or whatever, but I was like, wow, that's disheartening. And then I'm like y'all said, just try it. Like, she wasn't even willing to try it. And even if you feel like you don't have a problem expressing yourself, go along with it for your spouse. If Mike was going to journal and say, she could preface it like, I don't really think I need to do this, but if you think it will help us, I will do it. I'll try that. Because she doesn't understand. Like, she's so aware of how he talks to her, but she is so unaware of how she talks to him. She needs it too. Like my husband said, I really felt like my daughter had a teacher that she had a little song she would sing when the kids came to her desk when they shouldn't. And she was like, if you need me, don't come to me, I'll come to you. You know what I'm saying? So it was like she treated him like that, like, no, stay over there and do your work. And then I'll come see, and I'll tell you, like my husband said, with my red pen. I was just like, but I did appreciate the fact that Tantric yoga, I think, went a whole lot better with them than we've seen it with some of the other couples. Like Ryan and Claire Ryan just laughed the whole time. Zach and Mindy, Zach was like very not into it at all. And then, like you said, the other Ryan with, what's her name?
Ryan and Brett.
Yeah, Ryan and Brett. Brett was so focused on the instructor and his wardrobe malfunction that he couldn't. So I was glad that I felt like Tantric yoga went better for them and they really could build on that, But yeah, I think Jasmina needs a good talking to. The experts need to talk to her outside of Michael and say, let somebody give me a clip. so they can show her. Did you see how you just talked to him? I want you to see. Do you see how you like? That's not good either. Which I don't know. That was disturbing.
Yeah. She is. I think she is so uptight and try to make everything very uptight. Try to make things perfect. That is not going to be perfect. And that she wants him to do everything that she wants him to do, but she's not willing to compromise or bend. I think we talked about this with Johnny and Bao last season. There got to be some kind of compromise and bending in their relationship. We saw her a little bit later on when they was in the bed. They were a little playful with each other. You know, I think she picked his beard out, whatever case may be. She became a little bit playful. Now she has opened up a little bit because of the tantric yoga, and I think that's because you having a man he's laying beside you. I don't understand. This is where I messed up. Y'all help me out. How you lay beside somebody every night, right? If you lay beside somebody every night and y'all don't touch each other, I'm sorry.
But you say you like him.
But you say you like him. I can't. Tommy, help me out, dog. I can't do it, man.
Look, I said, look, I'm muted over here. I was like, man, I don't know. I'm gonna rub on a booty at some point.
Right. At some point, I'm gonna rub or touch her back. I'm gonna do something, right? Just as a man. This is just. I'm sorry. I know Artika and Jackie here, but just as a man, right? While your brothers out there, you laying in a bed with a woman for this right now. It's been about 3 weeks, right? 3 or 4 weeks. And they say they don't touch each other. You ain't like roll over while she was sleeping. Like, man, this is a butt right here. Oh man,
the most she can do is smack your hand.
Like this is her waist right here. Like this is a thigh right here. Which leads me to believe they're not sleeping in the same room.
I think they are. I think he's scared. He is scared to touch her. But you might have to just jump out there, bruh, and just reach. All she can do is throw your hand off.
I would be scared to touch her too, though, if I was him, because she has an attitude.
Yeah.
I don't think they sleep together. That's my thing.
I think they do.
No.
I think they do, because if they didn't, they wouldn't have that scene with the beard picking and everything. You know what I'm saying? It didn't look fabricated. You know what I'm saying? They looked like it was comfortable. Like, let me get in my side of bed, you get in yours.
But even married, right? This is my other thing with them. Y'all married. You ain't seen her naked yet?
No.
What, you ain't seen her in her bra and panties?
No.
You ain't see him like in the boxer shorts with just a shirt on. Like, I mean, just married couple in general. Y'all in the same room or sleeping with each other. You have to see something to make, as a man or a woman, be like, he does. To forget all the BS, right? Like, man, she look good. Oh, he look good. His body is banging. It's something. Maybe just a men thing. Y'all the men in the chat, brothers. Am I right? You know what I'm saying? Let me know.
It gotta be a man thing. Because if I was on the show, y'all would, like, people viewing it would have saw me in my drawers.
Absolutely, right?
It was one other thing I was gonna say about them too. Oh man, dang, what's I gonna say? Not about the touching. Oh, I know what I was gonna say. And don't you just love how editing and the little clips did us when they played that clip of her saying, I don't even get wet. It made it look like she was talking about homeboy. And we was like, see, I knew it. I knew it. I was like, I told my husband, I said, that's a setup. That's a setup. That was a part of another sentence though. It wasn't directly directed at him.
It wasn't directly at him, but he was part of that conversation.
Right, but she was saying, because she was saying, if I'm feeling you, like if I feel connected, if I don't, then this is what happens. And she hasn't given him a chance to make her feel that way because she's been so, watch that tone, Michael. What you doing? Why you talking to me like that? So he can't even move in it. Like you said, he can't touch the booty. He can't touch the thigh, nothing. Because he like, I might say that wrong too. And that ain't even being said.
Bruh, I'm sorry.
I might rub her wrong.
I'm sorry. If we in a full-size bed, it ain't that big. You see them beds, Steve was sitting in there like he could barely fit in the bed. So it's not like they give them a king-size bed. Right. I'm saying, even in the midst of your sleep, you're rolling on top of each other and feeling each other. So I don't know. Maybe Michael just is scared. He's scared she might say something. You know what I'm saying? Like, he touched me, I ain't gonna get touched. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know how they don't touch each other in a full-size bed. When we first started dating, Tommy had a king at his place. I had a fool at my place. And if he came over to my house, like, he was like, man, we gotta go to my house. Your bed too small. Like, you need some more room. Because we were literally like, if I rolled over it was affecting his sleeping. He would wake up in the middle of the night because I rolled over because we were that close together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I think he's scared to talk to her, but also make a mistake with her.
Yeah.
And he has nothing to go off of. Like, it's much harder to work with a person if this person, everything that you're doing with this person is wrong, and then any suggestion you make, it's up to you to change it. Like, this is a situation I would have walked away from, but seeing that they can't, he's like, you can kind of see like, okay, what do I do now? Like, I'm gonna be in agreement with her because that's pretty much all he can do. We ain't gonna do the journal. Okay, fine. We don't have to do the journal. I'm not gonna sit up here and do it myself because I don't have an issue with communication. My issue is the communication with you.
Mm-hmm.
So with that being the case, it doesn't make sense for me to do one thing and you not do the same thing to reciprocate, to actually fix the issues that we're having. So what do you think will actually work? And she's like, us talking to each other. No, you can't talk. Like, I don't think she realized that that's what they've been trying to do, and it hasn't been working. So it's like, it's frustrating to watch because it's like, what do you do in that situation? And like touching her and being physical with her and actually having a conversation with her is hard. The suggestion I made for them, I think, was for them to go out and do more dates. You know, go out,
activities.
go out and do more activities and create memories together, which causes conversations, because it's one conversation me and her can talk about. When was our first date? Both of us laugh at it because we have two different, answers for it. But it's like, for that being the case, we never would have gotten to that point if we never like went out on both of those times. So it's like, you see him, you see his brain working, you see the wheel turning, but you see every stop, it's a Jasmina puts a stop to it. She's like, they're getting into it. Like, everything is happening because of Jasmina. You can tell Michael is a really, really laid back guy and pretty much is going to go with whatever you want to go with, but when things aren't working, they're not working. And he's just following directions at this point. Like Dr. V said, do the journal. All right, let's do it. You don't want to do it? Okay, we don't have to. But what we're doing is not working. So I don't know. I think he's like, I ain't gonna say fed up, but I think he's confused as to what he can do and what he can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I can't remember, was this the episode where they did the yoga thing at the end? Everybody, like the girls, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just want all these episodes running between. And she said, Jasmina, meaning like as of today, she basically like, I wouldn't be with dude. She was like, I'm not going to make I wouldn't be with them. Like, if today was decision day, I'm by myself. I think she's already given up. I think she's already quit. I think she's throwing in the towel. She's riding out the next 4 weeks, whatever they have left. Bruh said he thought a relationship was about an 8 or 7.
He did.
he said he thought about a 7 or 8. He said the only thing we have is communication issues.
She wouldn't even rate it.
She wouldn't even rate it. Right? So it's when you can't rate it, I'm thinking you out. Your mind is gone. She couldn't even rate it. So she can't even put a number on it. He gave her like a 7. 7 or 8. Like, okay. And he gave it a 7 or 8. He ain't get 7 or 8 with no loving.
Right.
Being talked to
affection.
Talk to you like a little kid.
No touching.
And mad at each other 3 out of the 7 days of the week.
Glad to be in the service.
He just happy.
I'm sorry, man. I couldn't be married to her and like not touch her. Like, we would hug, we would, kiss. It ain't like they haven't done it before.
Right.
But I don't know. I guess that's just me.
Yeah, they need the Haley and Jake activity. So before you go to bed, give each other a hug and a kiss. When you wake up in the morning, give each other a hug and just start. They need somebody to tell them, Dr. Viv, to say, start right here, try that. And I don't think she will be opposed to it. Not like Haley was. Haley was like, absolutely not.
Right.
Even though she said she was. So I think I would like to think she'd be agreeable with that. I think that's the activity they need.
They need that box that Dr. V sent
Yeah.
everybody else. That's what they
right. Yeah, they needed box. They didn't get one, right? I thought that was weird too. She thought Tantric yoga was to be the best thing for them.
I mean, like it pointed them in the right direction, but it's I said like it. I haven't seen it twice, man. I was like, man, we need to do that. Like seriously, man. It's I don't know, man. I don't know.
It's good. It might be a good experience. I still, I'm down for it.
I'm hoping, yeah. I'm hoping that it, I think we saw a little bit. I'm hoping they'll continue it going because that's the point of the tantric yoga. It's supposed to get you to the place where once we leave out of here, then we can do some more touching. And like we said, we saw her picking his beard. We saw a little glimpse. So I'm hoping they can build on that.
I don't have faith in her. She said she saw a spark. We know about sparks. Unless it catch on something else, there ain't no fire. So her spark probably be out. Her spark probably be out by the time we see next week. I don't think. She said she felt sparks again. They looked at each other's eyes for the first. How are you looking at each other's eyes for the first time? I think they said it. This is the first time we looked in each other's eyes since the wedding day. Yeah. Like is bro dropping his head every time they talk? I mean. Well,
I guess it's like you know something you look at somebody, but like in the tantric yoga, like they had to really focus. You look at somebody in the face, but you don't lock eyes with them all the time. You don't lock eyes like, let me just observe. Like in that moment, they had to like really just lock eyes and be focused. So they haven't been focused.
They spent most of their time just coexisting in a space.
Right.
So it's like he goes to work, he get in, they eat, he go take a shower. He's like, I'm gonna go to bed, or I'm gonna go watch TV for a minute. So it's not a lot of let's have a conversation. Let's look at each other.
Mm-hmm.
Like even obviously it's not in the sense of just trying to gain intimacy, but when I go home for holidays, sometimes I just call my sister and say, will you come over here so I can just look at you? And it's just a matter of I just need to lay eyes on you and make sure that you're okay because I haven't seen you. But it's a thing of they're not locking eyes with each other because who knows what kind of fight that can start? Like, why are you staring at me like that? It's like, I'm not staring at you. I'm just looking at you.
I feel the rage in your eyes.
I didn't feel comfortable because he was just looking at
me. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, she needs help. She needs help bad. And I think she wants to show emotion to him because she said she likes him. If this is the way that she treats somebody, she likes him. I think one of you guys said it, or somebody said it last week, maybe Chloe or Talisa was like, she's only been in long distance relationships, which adds to the fact that she doesn't know how to be with somebody. Mm-hmm. And I think that's where the awkwardness comes in at. She hasn't really been with somebody, and she lived with a guy, but that's a roommate. You look at him like whatever. But the other relationship she's been in has been long distance. So now when you actually be with somebody on a regular basis, she don't know how to deal with it. I think that's one of the issues.
I'm gonna turn this loose after this, but also with the long distance thing. It goes back to, I think Chloe said it, or we've talked about it, period. At first glance, you're looking at Jasmina like she's a nice looking girl. She seems like she have a lot going for herself. Why would she be on Married at First Sight? Now we know.
Yeah.
Now we know. Like, I think it was Chloe that said, like, if you coming on Married at First Sight, then you obviously, even if you're nice looking, it's something else going on that's causing you not to have a relationship. So now we see.
Yeah. They both have some issues that they need to work out.
Yeah.
And they need to get deep. They both have a lot of issues. Just like this couple right here, both have a lot of issues. Mark and Lindsey. They have this right here. They have issues. I'm gonna let y'all start because I got a whole thing for Lindsey because I'm mad at Lindsey for saying my man's sex was whack, but that's a whole on national television. But Tommy, Mark and Lindsey.
I started off this episode with her. We started off with her talking to her friend on Zoom or whatever, and I was just like, is this just like, am I just a really private person, or who calls their friends to talk about like the sex wasn't good or whatever? Because I was like, my friends and I just don't do that. I don't know if it's just a us thing and I just expect other people to follow suit, but she's just like, and then she contradicted herself in that conversation. She was like, we haven't had sex in 2 weeks, and then she's like, well, we had sex today. Like, which one is it? Is it you hadn't had sex before today in 2 weeks? Because you included today in the 2 weeks, and then like a few minutes into the conversation, it's we had sex and it wasn't good. It was just like he came in, as Tommy's verbiage would say, he got his rocks off and he left. And so that's a real concern of mine with them, because it's kind of like talking negatively about your spouse to other people. Once you get over it, they're not over it. So, and you're putting this out there with not a negative thing, but with your sex life. And then it's like, I don't understand why Lindsey can't just listen sometimes. Like, just sometimes. I'm not saying she gotta just bag herself down all the time, but she just can't listen. He can tell her, what we're doing isn't working. I want to do X, Y, Z. And she's like, this is where you're wrong. Do you know everything that I've done for you? It's like she needs to throw something else back up at him, because he can't be right. She has to be right. He has to be wrong, no matter what the circumstances are. And it makes me wonder, how did her previous relationships go? Like, was it always
the same way it's going now?
Yeah. I mean, she was talking about guys whining and dining her and doing all these things that he won't do, and I just want her to calm down.
I don't know. I appreciate Dr. V telling her, hey, stop being so rude. When it comes to, like, do you want to have sex with him or do you want to like him? Stop being so rude when you're talking about it. The second thing, to answer your question, like, I don't think for men we talk about like if we're getting some or if we're not getting some, but we don't go into specifics. And then two, I do believe, like, if the sex is that bad, you can definitely teach him how to please you. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody has different likes, and stuff like that. And that's all it is to learning your person. It's like, what does this person like? And you like, what does this person like and what are you willing to do? And those are the things that you have to balance when it comes to your spouse. And it's time. It's time spent with this person to know truly how to help this person get their rocks off. So it's like with her, she's so rude when it comes to that, and she's so focused on that one aspect of it. She's not paying attention to the other aspects of the relationship. You know what I'm saying? She's like, well, he can't please me here, so he can't do anything else for me. Which it causes an argument because she's not paying attention to anything that he's saying. It was fun looking at them play with the little sex box that Dr. V sent them.
So awkward.
It was awkward, but it was fun looking at it just because it's like, okay, see, this is where they get to laugh. Like, I like to see people laughing and joking with each other and having a semi good time, but it's hard to watch when she's like always talking about him, always talking bad about him. He's just sitting there like just taking it and saying, hey, it's not good for me either, but I'm here, But yeah, it was funny when they had to, like, she couldn't stop laughing with the little ball thing in her mouth.
It's because she doesn't have another outlet. Her mouth has to move. She just didn't know what else to do. It's like, I wanted her to have it in her mouth more than him, because I just want her to shut up sometimes.
Yeah.
It was, I always think, like, when they ask the couples to do some type of sexual activity, I'm always like, this is so weird, because, like, not only are we watching this on TV, we got all these camera people and producers in the room. So it's like, it's not really the sexual activity that they're trying to make it out to be, because it's just like, are we really doing this with 5 people in the room and then however many people at home watching this. But with her, somebody just said in the comments, I can't scroll up to see, but it was like she enjoys embarrassing him, and she has to like basically get her ammunition of, I did this, I did this, I did this. You can't do anything, because it's like sometimes she'll sit down and say, "Oh, Mark's a great guy," and then the next time it's like, and he only makes $60,000. Like, he's trash. Which one is it? Is he a great guy or is he trash? Like, is it because he didn't have sex with you when you wanted him to, or what is it? Like, I can't say that her biggest concern is sex. It's one of the things that she does bring up a lot, but he's always bringing up how she doesn't listen. And it's like, if you just listen, you might get the good sex that you want.
Yeah.
It can be a segue.
It's funny too. I think she was talking to the girls. I had to look at my notes. She wanted him to woo her, and for me, it's like if you want somebody to woo you, it means you want them to, try to really chase you.
Yes, Jada, you said it. Thank you.
But if that's the case, you want her to woo you, or you want him to woo you, you have to be something worth wooing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you can't like do the simple things that he's asking you to do, he's not going to want to do all those things. And so it runs into a forever circle of, you're not doing this and you're not doing this and we're not going to do this and we're not going to do that because of the thing that you want ultimately from him. So, but you don't make the prize interesting. And that's the problem.
Or worth the struggle.
Or worth the struggle.
Prize.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think every time he tried to woo her, she's putting him down. He did the dinner thing. Maybe the conversation didn't go the way that she wanted it to go. She talked about it, right? He wooed her with the sushi situation, but he didn't really want to do sushi. Take the fact that he did woo her. The guys that she talked about that did woo her, I think it was rich dudes that just wanted to get in their pants. Probably were married, had a mistress on the side, had fiance. I can woo you, but I ain't never gonna marry you, right?
Right.
So all these guys that she had been with who wooed her was trying to get in her pants, and when they got in their pants, they left because guess what? You're still on Married at First Sight. None of the guys that wooed you married you, and so you got to ask yourself, what was I giving them that wooed me, but it wasn't good enough for them to marry me? And so she had to understand that from that aspect of it too. And why would a guy want to woo you if you put him down all the time, right? You call him an idiot every day. You talk about his mama. You say always putting up, and you're always saying the things that you helped him with, right? Which he really didn't need your help with. But you made it your business to help him with, and you constantly beating him up. This dude is not going to woo you if you constantly beating the dude up. What you think? He ain't Teflon Don, you know what I'm saying? It ain't Bang Superman. It ain't bouncing off his chest. It's hitting dude. You already know he got a soft spot, right? He likes taking care of people, and so he likes to be a people pleaser. That's why the sexual basket was really awkward. He only did it to please her. That's not what he wants to do, right? He didn't want to put that. The candy necklace G-string on. He didn't want to put that ball gag in his mouth. He was like, he really wasn't feeling that thing. So he's doing this to try to please her, but she never gives him any affirmation and say, you know what, Mark, I appreciate you for pleasing me. Or Mark, I appreciate you for doing this for me. I know it was awkward. She just takes everything to the deep end and she goes on and on about what she did for him and all this other stuff. Let the dude go. You know what I'm saying? Let the dude. I think she wrote "driven" on his forehead. Like driven. All the things that you could write on the forehead. The only thing you like about driven. How about he makes me laugh, funny, charismatic? Something different because he's driven. The same guy you said his driven gets him $60,000 a year that you talked about, right? So you like the fact that he's driven, but you don't like the fact that he brings in $60,000 because that's the first shot you had. All right. So which one is it? And I think that's what she's at. She's confused. She wants to, and then she said this. She says, I'm more women. I think I'm more women than he can handle, which means you have a high sex drive. And I think Tommy just said it. Tell him how to meet your sex drive or what he needs. He ain't never been with you before. I think and she hasn't realized, and I think people mess up in relationships. What you did with one partner may not work with the other partner. every partner may not like the same thing that you do. It may not give the same partner all. You know what I'm saying? So you have to work, and they have to work that out, and they got to learn each other from there. Because what you did with Sally and Sue may not work with him. You know, whatever she did with Michael, James, and John, whatever, may not work with Mark. And so it becomes a communication part. How do we make this sexual relationship in our marriage work? This is what I like. This is what you like. How can we maneuver?
I kind of feel like Artika too. I was like, this is a little bit embarrassing with them doing the sexual stuff on the camera. It's like, how really intimate can it be with the camera stuck in my face? It's like, it's almost like for play. I like that somebody said in the comments, because I was thinking that too. She was still running her mouth with the ball gag in her mouth. She was still talking. And yeah, kind of embarrassing him with the candy G-string. I was like Mark looks so uncomfortable. He looks so uncomfortable. And I was like, this is not gonna help. This is not gonna help them sexually. It's just not. I think, and I'm sorry.
No, I just
You're cutting me off, Michael. No, stop. Go ahead.
No, just the part that she said, embarrassment, because I think they had a question on the beach. And the question on the beach, she's like, "Oh, I like to be on top because I just found out this G spot, right?" So she's trying to recreate him hitting the G spot over and over again. So that's why she's trying to recreate the moment, and whoever hit her G spot, she's trying to make Mark get to that point.
Yeah,
it's not gonna hurt.
But he's not feeling it. I'm a female, so I'm seeing Mark do what some of us females do. You know how when a man makes you mad, your partner upsets you or whatever, and then they want to try to get some. It's like, or they just, when you out somewhere and you was like, oh, they acted the way they acted, I just didn't like that. And then you come home and want to be like, how you doing? It's like, I know I would be like, no, I'm not. I didn't like you outside. I'm not gonna like you inside neither. What? So Mark is doing that. He's like, nah. And I'm not mad at him. It's like, I don't like the outside person. I don't like that. So I don't feel like being romantic. I don't feel like giving you none. And probably when he does, it's lackluster because he like, I don't like you right now. I don't like you. I don't like your rude, your crass. Yeah,
like, exactly. Because when he told her on, was it during their honeymoon? When he was like, I need to pull back, he's like, these things are happening, and I can't do this.
Yeah, it's not making me. I mean, as a man, I guess Mark is like, as a man, I appreciate sex. I like sex too, but I like to have it with somebody I like, and I don't like you right now. And that's why I could really appreciate, like you said, what Dr. Viv said, it's like, hey, don't do that. Can we not be so rude? Can you not? The way y'all talk to each other is terrible. It's terrible. Dr. Viv called and was like, no, let's not do that because it's not going to help the situation. And then with the I've dealt with like high class guys and they woo me and I'm like, you ain't all that. Lindsey's not all that. I'm sure it's some old guy that ain't got much of nothing going on. It's probably one of those doctors in the hospital that he's very close to retirement anyway. And they seen her working with the hospice patients, was like, I like how you get at morphine.
You stupid.
She's not, she's not, and I'm not saying she's not pretty, but she's not like, what about you is making men want to woo you? I don't see it.
This is my problem. What is wooing, right? What is wooing?
Sugar daddy and her.
No, for real though. Explain. You want me to woo you, and if I don't know how, explain to what wooing is, because guess what? It goes back to what I said a few minutes ago. His version of wooing, he thinking taking you out to a sushi restaurant and giving you some sushi, you know what I'm saying, is wooing you. Mm-hmm. He don't eat it. Doing things that he doesn't want to do, he thinks that's wooing you. And you haven't given him a true definition of woo. And I think that's what happens in relationships sometimes. You don't give the person a true definition. You think they Miss Cleo, you know, a Dionne Warwick or somebody, and they can't figure out your mind. Be honest, tell me what you need and I can do. Because one thing men don't like to do, if I woo you and you don't like it, do the shut down on you quickly and never do it again. So, he knows me. No, he don't know you. And if you would do, you need to be like, hey, can you explain to what wooing is? Yeah. Because I wooed Shorty this way and she liked it. Because you, as a man, you can't go in a relationship thing because I did this to old girl and it was good, and come into this relationship and woo her, she may not like that. Yeah. So define what wooing is and get an understanding. Don't just say you need to woo me.
Like her focus being so much on sex, like I get it. Sex is a part of marriage, like, you know what I'm saying? But the focus of sex so much, like, because every episode she's talked about them not having sex, it's not being good and stuff like that. But she never talks about their communication issues. They're just dealing with each other as a person issues, you know.
Right.
Their friendship. Like a lot of these people don't realize, like, you have to become friends. You have to like the person, you know. Right. You have to want to hang out with the person. Like that's a part of it. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of life. Like you just have to have a great relationship with this person. And the sex is like one aspect of it. Is a very important aspect of it, but it's, you know, it's an aspect of it that you can't give 90% of your time focus on. Right. You know, and I feel like every episode, every moment we get to see them, it's something about the sex with her. You know, and doing it not being good or whatever it is, and it's like that's a formula of failure anyway. Mm-hmm. Like you so focused on sex, you don't see he's having an issue. You want to be his helper, his savior, but you're not really paying attention to what he needs help with. True. You know, you're causing a lot of issues in his life because you're not listening to what he's telling you. And this is the first time that I'm looking at a relationship and like, man, the man is not messing up. You know, usually like we're prone to mess up. Right. Especially when it comes to a lady, because it's like women are more intellectual and feelings toward am I saying that right? I don't want to disrespect anybody. You know, I'm treading lightly here. You know? Women are like, men are brutes. We see a wall, we're gonna run through it. You know, hit our head a couple times and be like, But women gonna look at this wall and be like, I think I'm gonna just go around it. Right. You know, it's that type of mindset, but in their relationship, it's more so of her. She's just one track mind, one way. That's the way to go. That's the way we need to do it. And then Mark is like, nah, it's another way around it. You just gotta listen to me. And it's weird, man, to see this and to actually talk about them like this, man. So
I wonder if she shuts up doing sex. Does she talk too much? To me, she seems like she's too bossy.
Put that gag in her mouth.
Talking.
Right, got to tie it up tighter, man.
Yeah, she's bossy, you know, but he doesn't. Again, he needs to stand up to her and need to let her know. And we saw a little bit of that last week, but he needs to really tell her, like, look, this is what I need. This is what I want. And to me, he seemed like he's the. You trading lightly. It's like he's in an abusive relationship. I'm gonna trade like he's in an abusive relationship, and he doesn't want her to say anything so she can go off. So he's like he's walking on eggshells. If I say this, she's gonna go off. If I do this, she's gonna go off. But I do like her a little bit because we do mesh a little bit. But she is helping me out. Let me go back here, and you know he's bouncing between. He's walking on eggshells. Something I want to hit on, and I don't know if you guys watched After Party. She talked about him sliding into Alyssa's DMs. I don't know why Mark is sliding into their DMs. To me, that relationship, those couples have been real close. If you think about it, her and Chris was real close with each other. And then you got Alyssa and Mark sliding her DM. Maybe he's just too friendly. He's checking on Alyssa. But In a newly marriage, I'm not sliding in nobody else's DMs, asking questions, hanging out, and my spouse know that I'm dropping in somebody's DMs. Mark's making a mistake. I mean,
Yeah.
y'all thoughts?
And Mark knows that she doesn't like her, or they don't get along too well. Like, that's a dumb move, man.
Mm-hmm.
That is stupid. Like, like I do some dumb things, but that's just stupid. You know, it's like, bro, like out of all the women to like DM, why her? You know, you already have this hothead as a wife, and you sitting up here DMing the one girl or the one of the two girls that she really ain't fooling with. Talking about you want to check on Chris. If you gonna DM somebody, DM Jasmina or Noy, you know, but let it be known, hey, we're all talking with each other.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But we also know that Lindsey don't want Mark either.
You know that. We know Mark don't want Lindsey.
I mean, not. I'm sorry, not Lindsey.
Oh,
Alyssa.
Alyssa.
Alyssa doesn't want Mark.
See, that's what I was gonna say too. Yeah.
Like, he doesn't fit the profile of
Nah.
what she wants. So we know that that's not a. Oh, you know, let me see how things are going with you, just in case y'all are getting divorced. She don't want him.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, yeah. Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. I'm like,
whenever we were walking to yoga, I was like, "Oh, Alyssa's missing out."
Right.
But yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was like, it ain't no threat there. He doesn't seem to be Alyssa's type at all. So, and I just think, I don't know what the conversation was, but I told my husband, I said, I think it's just Mark being nice. I don't think it was the traditional slide in DMs. I think it was just he sent her a message in the DMs. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, like Tommy said, send Chris a message. But he probably don't have to. Obviously, he don't have to go in Chris's DMs because they got each other's numbers.
They talk to each other. But my thing is this: I think I understand Lindsey's point. If you don't like me, don't talk to him.
Mm-hmm.
If we can't get along, don't do that. Don't throw that here. And it's terrible.
I fully expect that from Alyssa. Yeah. I fully expect that.
But stay away. He needs to say, if you don't fool with my wife, I can't fool with you.
Well, he don't fool with his wife, so.
Well, he does now. So he does a little bit. But let's move on to Elijahuan and Katina. Elijahuan and Katina. Dr. V visits Elijahuan and Katina. And I don't know about y'all, I still don't think bruh got it at the beginning.
He did.
I think, bro, when she was talking and your wife is crying, right? She's shedding tears. She's crying, and you're still talking about cooking and cleaning. You're still looking at Dr. Viviana like she's speaking gibberish when she tells you that your stuff is outdated. I read body language well. He's sitting there like, I don't care what you say. I know what I want. And then when she hit him with, how did you eat before? I would grab something every now and then. I would grab some, but I got a wife now. So that's what we doing here. So because you have a wife now that you can cook, like he still was to me like, bro, you still ain't getting it. Like you still not computing what is being said to you. And even when he was on after party and Keisha said something to him, he was like, well, it kind of came out wrong. No, it didn't come out wrong. You knew what you were saying and you knew what you wanted. And I guess when he looked at it, he like, oh dang, I am kind of messed up. Y'all thoughts on Elijahuan and Katina? Because I can go on for them in a minute because there's some other things, but
Elijahuan is a liar, and he's a bad liar because you can literally he says something, he gets called out on it, and then he's like, "That's not what I said." That is exactly what you said, and you keep saying it. You try to back out of it in the conversation with Pastor Cal. And then you tried to back out of the conversation with Dr. Viviana, but you're saying the exact same things over and over again. You're just basically pulling back to say, no, that's not how it sounds. I mean, I know it sounds wrong, but that's not what I mean. But it is what you mean. And I wanted more follow-up questions when she was like, so how did you eat before? And he's like, but I have a wife. What does that mean? Do you no longer find your own food because you have a wife? What happens if she goes out of town? What happens if she's sick? Like he's saying, she's at home all day. She's at home all day working. If she was in an office, you wouldn't expect her to figure out what you're going to eat for dinner on her lunch break, like run home to go make something for you. You would still have to come home and figure it out with her too. On a lot of days and a lot of occasions, I want to know where Elijahuan got his views of marriage from. That's one of the bigger things. I'm like, how old is he? 30?
I don't know how old he is.
He's younger than me. I do know.
He's in his 30s, like 31, 32, somewhere around there.
Okay. Just a wee bit younger than me. I know he didn't watch the Cosby Show and get his views of marriage from that. Like we were sitting here just trying to throw out shows like, where did you get your viewpoints of marriage from? Because your mom wasn't married, so it's not that you saw your mom doing X, Y, and Z. Because I could see with just using my husband for an example. One set of his grandparents, his grandma was at home all day. She made 3 meals a day, no matter what. If he said, I expect my wife to do this, I would be like, okay, you saw that visually. But even with his own parents being married, that's not what he saw, because his mom went to work, his dad went to work.
You talking about me?
Yes. Yeah.
But that was questionable about my dad.
Okay, it's questionable about your dad. Your mama went to work. But like, even with me, my mom, prior to getting married, was, at home she was at work all day. And then when she got married, my mom became a stay-at-home wife because we were all adults at that point. But you have to look at the different conclusions that are he's drawing these things from. It's like, what is your view of marriage? Where did you get it from? Did your granddaddy go to work every day and your grandma stay home? Who was it that told you you no longer have to make your own peanut butter sandwiches because you signed on the dotted line that I'm married now? It just doesn't make sense to me.
Something just hit me. So let's take a walk back. Let's talk about who we're talking about. Well, first thing, I want to get this out. Katina does not speak up for herself enough.
Correct.
And that's all I got to say about her. So with Elijahuan, you got to realize it's a couple things. With him, one, he's an ex-football player. When you think of football players, or when I see the football players from college, from UT, who just, by the way, won the SEC championship, got to throw that in there. Go Vols. But, it wasn't the football team. It's the basketball team. But, as he's an athlete who pretty much seems like he got whatever it is that he wanted, from the opposite sex and from the relationships. So if he requested somebody to fix him a meal, then, that's what they're going to do, or he's going to the next person. That's why he was so quick to say, well, I would have been gone by now, if it wasn't for marriage. Then he puts marriage on a pedestal, the word, I'm married, or being a husband, he puts it on a pedestal. Whereas marriage is just the name of what we're doing. Being married is just the name of what we're doing. You still have to be an actual person and have this type of relationship with this person. You can't just say, oh, we're married, you're supposed to do X, Y, and Z now because you're married. No, you hold yourself accountable for things that you do. You if you want your wife to treat you like trash, then of course you're going to treat your wife like trash. But if you want your wife to treat you like a king, you treat your wife like a queen. But he has this ideal that automatically, because we're married, we're supposed to do X, Y, and Z. And your job is to do cooking and cleaning. My job is to come in and pay the bills. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we know that he's thinking about it, because he was as an athlete or just as a person who is into themselves, who has any type of confidence for themselves, who believes that they're God's gift to women, because that's what it seems like. Like he's women's. The woman that's with him is like they have just won or something. You know what I'm saying? So with that being the case, it's like you looking at him with these outdated ideas. Katina's not stepping up and saying anything that she's not getting. Her standards not being met, and she's trying to meet everything that he's throwing out there. It's like why would he think differently? Why would he approach anything that he's doing differently? Because nothing is being challenged, and only time anything gets challenged is when the experts come in and say and talk with them. But it's like they're only coming, like we got one more to see, and then that's probably the last time that they see him until decision day. Or they may see one more, some other time whenever they all sit down. It's talk to the experts day or whatnot, but he's not being challenged on these ideas anywhere except in that one place. So no, like when he was talking to Dr. V, he wasn't trying to hear nothing she said because it was irrelevant to him. You know what I'm saying? It's like my wife ain't saying nothing to me about that, even though she's sitting up here crying while he's like, "Oh, you're lazy." Like all that stuff was a cop out because he's like, "You're lazy. You don't do X, Y, and Z. I question you as an adult." And all these things. It's like, bro, come on, man. You can't do that and expect to have a good relationship. And she's just falling into the trap. So, I think Dr. V did a good job, or good of a job, good as she could, by calling him out on some of the stuff. But I was going to say Katana. Katina needs to. She has to. This thing is not going to work unless she steps up and really hone in on, like, they talk about the things that they want and not the things that he wants. Because he's used to getting the things that he wants and not having to share that, the give and take of relationship.
I wish he would just stand in it.
Who?
Like,
Elijahuan?
This is what I want when he gets checked by Dr. Viviana. Or
Oh
Pastor
yeah,
Pam.
he be backpedaling hard.
I wish he would stop backpedaling. If this is really what you want, stand in it.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable. My wife got to cook. Stand in it.
But he doesn't stand in it because that's like he's springing this on them.
Mm-hmm.
Like he never said anything about this until he was actually at home, or until they like really got married and started having conversations with each other. Because the thing is, you got to look at what she's a food blogger, right?
Mm-hmm.
She worked for the state too, though.
And she worked for the state.
Yeah.
But she's a food blogger. Like, she doesn't have to cook. She goes out and vlogs about food. Like, so it's like you turning this woman's world 180 degrees, and you expect everything to be fine and as quick as you want it. And then you're not even caring about her needs. Everything is about him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it's weird.
I just want to understand, why does she have to be the one to make the food?
I don't know. I don't get that, man.
Like,
but this episode, we did see him making pancakes with the little. Didn't he have?
He put some bananas and
Yeah,
blueberries.
I was like, you sucker.
He a sucker for fruit his pancakes.
No, I'm just saying, man. He just like they put that in there just because.
Right. And they showed him cooking one before one in another episode too. I think Katina is really want to set an image on TV. I think she does say something to him, but he just doesn't care.
Mm-hmm. Well, he said that on the after party. He said, "Y'all think my wife is quiet on TV, but like when the camera's not rolling, she like lets me have it." And I get it. It's kind of like the Bow and Johnny situation. Like,
right.
They would say like Bow is not the same person because she wants to know what we're talking about. Nobody wants to go on TV and be looked at like a fool because you can't contain yourself on TV.
Right.
And so she's like, all right, just talk. Keep talking. You keep talking. But I don't feel like she stands up enough to him,
right,
when the cameras are off.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think she needs to stand up and speak for herself and not there. Even if she gives it to him off, because remember, his family said you would have to tell him multiple times no, or repeat things 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times to let him know this ain't what's going on. So he
And with
hears
a knife in hand.
No, you don't have to go there.
a frying pan or
I'm
something.
just saying, like, if I told you no and I had a knife in my hand, you wouldn't ask me again.
That's true. That's the
Right,
truth.
that's the truth. And you know, and I think you say guys talked about where did he get this from? I don't know, because his brother's wife was like, when he said it, she was like, this ain't gonna work well. She like, so you know the brother ain't getting it, right? You know the brother ain't making his wife cook. So it's like, how did he get it? So it's again, it becomes a situation where he thinks she's lower than him. And then when he said on the after party, I didn't even know she had a job. I didn't know she was working. What was she doing? Y'all live in an apartment, right? It's just two of y'all, not like you have kids. How much dirt and how much filth is in that apartment with just two people? Unless both of y'all just nasty, right? I mean, it's two, and she's sitting at home working all day. You want her to clean about, do all this stuff. She is literally working from home. So if there was no pandemic, Tommy, you said it. There was no pandemic. She'd probably been in the office, right? She'd been in the office somewhere working for the state, and therefore she may not even get home until after you. And how do you not know what she do all day? Because you work at night, so that means you sleep all day, or you at the gym. So what are you doing in the daytime to assist her to help you? So you want her to fix your breakfast. You want her to fix your breakfast when you get home because you work all night. Take care of your lunch while you sleep, and then fix your dinner before you go back to work because you work at night. You know, so at what point do you feel like she's not taking care of home? You know what I'm saying? So it's to me, he seems so outdated and trying to manipulate the situation. In every situation, he's trying to manipulate it that she needs him. You know, she doesn't need you. She was doing fine before you, and guess what? You was eating before her. So if you really want to say that y'all want to cook together, guess what? Cook together. Make it a romantic experience. Make it a good experience for your wife to cook. Don't make it seem like now she's like miserable. She's doing it just to do it. And she keeps falling into the cycle. I don't want to do it, but you do it. I don't want to do it, but you do it. I don't want to do it, but you do it. Come on. And so therefore he keeps saying it. Guess what? He every time he says something, you do it. So guess what he's going to do? Keep saying it. So because you're going to keep doing it. Instead of saying, nah, bro, tonight, all right, even work it out. Okay, we'll cook Monday to, I think my mom used to do it. I cook Monday through Thursday, right? But Friday, Saturday, and Saturday, y'all on your own. And then Sunday, I'll cook Sunday dinner, right? Friday and Saturday, you was on your own. She may cook Sunday dinner after church or beforehand. So it becomes those things. She can say, look, I got to work my food blogging, this, and this. Would you like to come out with me? And we can try some of these foods together. I call you my assistant. We get 2 plates, right? You get to eat. I get to eat. I still get to do work. And we still get to spend quality time together. So it's some things they can do to maneuver around that. But again, he's not willing to do that because he wants a home-cooked meal. And guess what? And like Pastor Cal said, you didn't put that on there because we gave you somebody that couldn't cook. So now you can't cook. You still eating. It ain't like he missed too many meals because he still bulked up a little bit. She doing something. You know, and then even when they got to the romantic side where he giving her the massage and all this other stuff, or she putting the whip, it seemed like to me, I still go back to, bro, why are you holding back, right? What are you holding back? What are you hiding? Is it the fact that she ain't cooking? Is the reason that y'all not trying to have sex? Because she down. Or unless they hiding the fact that she having sex and they ain't telling nobody.
I doubt that would be it though. Right. Like Elijahuan seems like the one that'll be like, yeah, man, tell him. You know.
Or he'd be the one to tell
him.
Yeah.
I just had a couple of things with them. I was sad at their interaction with Dr. Viviana because the very thing that she told him happened in her previous relationship when she cried, he did to her. He looked at her like she was like, he just looked at her like she was stupid. Like she was crying. She was like, it hurt because these are insecurities that I already had that you're pointing out. And she's crying and he was like unfazed.
Right.
He was unfazed. He was like, I was like, dang. he just finished telling her, don't hold your tears in, don't hold it in, let it out. And so she's letting it out, and he didn't reciprocate, he didn't try to comfort her or anything. Dr. Viviana tried to correct him on these crazy ideals, these archaic ideals. He had somebody in the comments said that Elijahuan wanted a ready-made wife. No. He wanted a ready-made housewife. That's what he wanted, a ready-made housewife. And as somebody that works from home, let me tell you something. I don't know what he expects from her. So he says when she's at home, she's working from home. I still got to do the same work that I did in the office. So if it took me 8 hours in the office, it's going to take me 8 hours at home. That don't mean I get more free time. Matter of fact, I know for me, when you work from home, you end up sitting at your desk longer than you might have in the office. You know, so just because he tried to make it like, well, she worked from home, why she can't get up and cook? Because I got work to do. Put some laundry in. I might can jump up real quick, but I'm not getting ready to wash 4 and 5 loads of laundry and sit here and fold it while I'm working, because I gotta work. They want to see me active on this computer. You know, sometimes when you work from home, they got stuff to make sure you on your computer. You know what I'm saying? She might have to look out for that, watch out for that. But I was just like really disturbed at, you know, how nonchalant and how he just kind of brushed off.
Insensitive.
Her tea. Yeah, he was very insensitive to me. And I'm like, y'all, like, where are you getting these ideals from? Like Artika said, I could see if he could say, my grandparents, my grandmother was like this with my grandfather, and I see how that worked out for them. You know, he can't give anything. Like, you just pulled this out your behind. You're pulling out your behind, and that she's got to cook and she got to clean and she got no, sir. And the little massage and back rub thing and all like that. I'm like, I don't know, for Elijahuan to have been as much in the streets and in the sheets as he said he was, bro, there ain't no way. There's no way. There's no way. Bruh. Something ain't right for why he ain't try to jump her bones yet. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Something ain't right. Because, you know, he's gotten away from his Playboy ways, but just like Pastor Cal told him, it's like, but you're in a marriage now. So all your little freak, you can let it out now. You can let it out. So I wonder, I'm like, something ain't right.
That's something definitely ain't right. But again, I think he is playing with her emotions. I think he really want to break her. I mean, he's breaking her. I think he's breaking her. He really wants her to be submissive to everything he wants. And I think he wants to control the situation. And withholding sex to him is another control tactic, in my opinion. Withholding sex.
I just feel like he ain't that strong.
But no,
he got to be doing it with somebody else. So I just feel like he ain't that strong. He's not that strong.
Not the way he painted himself as his past life.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It ain't that much strength in the world. He was trying to get something.
Maybe taking long showers.
If he won't try, if he ain't trying to, if he not trying to, he doing something. He convinced her. Artika said it. As much as he portrayed himself to be that playboy in his old life, I can't see. It ain't that much strength in the world.
See,
you ain't gonna turn. You're not gonna turn from a. You know, you're not gonna turn from a man whore to a house husband.
Again, he's playing again. It's a manipulation thing that he's playing with her emotion because he knows she wants it too. So at the same time, he's getting it from somewhere, or he's manipulating the situation, man. He's manipulating the situation. One thing about Elijahuan, he is one of those guys where I think y'all guys said it. And Tom, you said it. He's gotten what he wanted. He's always gotten what he wanted, and to be told no, he doesn't handle no very well. and to adjust on the fly, he doesn't adjust well. He wants things to be his way. I mean, go back to the house when they was in the house with the cabinets. He wanted the cabinets his way. He wants the ugly curtains, right? He wants the ugly curtains to be his way. He wants everything to be one-sided, and he doesn't want the relationship. He wants the thought of having a wife, but doesn't really know what it means to have. You said it. I think you said it. He wants a housewife, right? But Katina's a wife, right? Who may not be a housewife, right? Because every woman may not know how to take care of the house. Is the day and age is 2022. Everybody may not know how to do that, and everybody might not take it to the degree that you want her to take care of the house, right? He may have OCD. She may not be an OCD person. Maybe, and we don't even know what dirty is to him. I mean, I want to clarify that because you didn't sweep the floor for like 3 hours. That doesn't mean it's dirty. You know what I'm saying? It's dirty. Or does she not make the bed in the morning, right? Again, go back to, it's in a small apartment. What is considered dirty, right? Y'all shouldn't have 4 loads of clothes. You got a uniform, she stay at home, right? So it's like, what is it that makes it dirty to you? Ain't that much dust in the apartment, right? Is the production people the ones making it
OCD too?
Is the production people the ones making it dirty, right? Because they got cameras and lights everywhere. They got all this stuff. So if it's the production people, then we need to move it out, right?
That's what I just said.
So again, but if he has OCD and all that, you need to let me know. Okay, his delivery. Sometimes what he says is not wrong. It's the delivery that gets there, right?
Yeah.
His delivery is terrible. Everybody's house standards is totally different, right? There's some people that don't wear shoes in their house. There's some people that before you come in the house, you gotta take your shoes off at the door, right? There's some people with the toilet seat on. I don't like paper towels in the trash can. I got these decorative towels out there. Don't wipe your hands on these decorative towels in the bathroom. You better go get some paper towels or something like that, right? Make sure there's no dishes in the sink before you go to bed at night. Again, those type of conversations they're not having or they are having, and he's having it because she's trying, right? He's having it and she's trying. She's just not living up to his standard. And I think that's the problem. Bro, what is your standard? And I think she need to give him some more standards. Okay, as a husband, I know you work nights, right? But I don't need you to lay in the bed till 12 o'clock. I need you to get up while I'm working. Can you want me to cook, right? Can you go buy the groceries? Because he's asking her to buy the groceries, right? And to cook the groceries. He just want to eat the groceries. Bro, you work at night, you up in the daytime, why you sleep all day? Can you go do something? I heard somebody say, man, somebody say him and Steve should be together. So Steve like to cook all the time and take care of the house. Elijahuan should hop up with Steve, right? But again, so or say Katina to learn from Steve, Katina, But again, he has to understand and she has to step up and they have to. I wish Dr. Viviana really would have said, you know what? Live a day in her shoes. What do you think she feels like when you say this to her?
You don't care.
Can you put yourself in her position? And sometimes when you can reverse roles, it makes a difference. I don't know if it would have worked with him, but I just know bro was sitting there looking at him like, he got into the whole role play situation. I don't know if he closed the door at the end of it like they was getting ready to get their business on, kick the camera room out. I don't know if it happened or not. And if truth be told, if you're Katina at this point, do you want to sleep with him? I think that's where she at.
Yeah, she probably would because that's what she thinking a wife is supposed to do. It's just a sad situation to look at because you it's like you don't have a positive thing to say about neither one of these guys, just because it's like they're showing of it. Like of course you want them. Like I want all the couples to be able to turn around, figure it out, right? But in this case, it's like you're looking at it from a one-sided lens. Like we're only seeing it through Elijahuan's lens because he's the only one that made a fuss about anything in the relationship. If you leave it up to Katina, like she told the girls, "Oh, my relationship is perfect." We're looking at it and saying, "Hey, something is wrong here. This man is verbally beating you." And you're just sitting there taking it like a child. It's like, no, stand up for yourself. Even if you're standing up for yourself outside of the camera, he's not saying this stuff on camera.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So because he's saying these things on camera, I mean, like in your face, in Dr. V's face, in Pastor Cal's face, like it's not changing. Like his message is not changing. And for him to just straight up say she's lazy, like that bothered me just because I believe you can say somebody's lazy in a better way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? You can talk about a person in a more positive way to spark a better change from a person. You know what I'm saying? If she doesn't like to do something, I get it. I think we said something in our review about there's just certain things that you have to like. You're not just gonna win that battle.
Right.
I think me and Article was like, I'm more of the cleaner, and she's more of the cooker. Not saying that I can't cook or it was like, hey, you gotta cook. No, but it
was the natural
progression of things.
Right.
You know, and I feel like if that's your big withdrawal from everything, like that she's not cleaning up, just step up. Just say, hey, I'ma just clean up, and that's just gonna be the thing. You know,
buy one of the robots that come on. Hey, I got a vacuum robot, right? My teenage kids don't like to vacuum, so I got tired of yelling. Got me a robot, right?
Yeah.
Bad boy come on when I want to come on. When they leave to go to school, hit the button, robot vacuum the house. No more arguments, right?
Right.
You know,
that's what I think of as an outsourced domestic task. Instead of you outsourcing it to a person, you've outsourced it to a machine.
Yeah. Outsourcing the machine. And that's it. And that's what it is. It's just bottom line. You know, he wants her to be a wife for the cooking aspect. I think one of y'all said it from the cooking standpoint, but you don't want to be a wife from the sexual standpoint. You're more worried about the cooking and cleaning than you are the sex.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not saying that it's not that the sex is more important than the cooking, but there's got to be a balance. You talking about a traditional wife, there should be a balance there, and he doesn't have a balance when it comes to that. And I think that's where it's at. He's off centered. Their relationship is not balanced. He's verbally abusive. He and truth be told, he may not even think he's verbally abusive.
That's the thing. He doesn't.
He doesn't know it.
Because he this is how he acted. Like we have to call a spade, man. Like he didn't have trouble with women.
No.
You know what I'm saying? He didn't they did what he wanted them to do.
Obviously not well enough if he was going through them like that.
That's what he wanted.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
he wanted enough,
right?
Because he was busting through.
Yeah, he wanted to go through them. He was at that point. Isaac didn't want a wife. Isaac just wanted women, right? Isaac just wanted sex. Elijahuan wants a wife. Maybe been to enough Christmas parties where everybody has a wife and he don't have one.
And his idea of a wife, man, like they should have asked him to write down what is the role, because we had to do that in counseling. What is the role of your spouse, or what do you expect your spouse to do?
And we had to go through like every domestic task and list, who do you think is going to do this? Is it both? Is it husband? Is it wife? And I mean, a lot of the stuff, I think about 98% of the things we had the same ideals on, but we also lived together before we got married. So it wasn't like we were looking like, oh, this is what a husband should do. This is what a wife should do. It's like, no, this is what Tommy already does. This is what Artika already does. So it was really easy to go through that. And I know that when you do Married at First Sight, you don't have that luxury. But something's got to give with him. Like Dr. Viviana told him, if you don't change your viewpoint, you're not going to be married to anyone.
Right. Which is true. I think because if they went through that process and they matched these up, here's the answers, here's the questions, and put these people together, they would have realized this ain't gonna work. Well, you know what? This is gonna work. But I just still, she needs to stand up and he needs to learn how to communicate. You know, we talked about earlier about somebody recording Jasmina. I'm really interested to see how does he feel he comes off on TV talking to the woman, talking to his wife, and how his family, his brothers, and people that he respects, because everybody respects somebody. You know, his friend was like, dog, you can't talk to her like that. His buddy who has been married for a long time, can't remember his name, like, bro, you can't do that. Because he's seen some of these marriages, and, you know, like, your communication is not there. You're you're hurting her more than than raising her up. You're giving more frustration than you are love. It ain't gonna last.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna last. And I know people say they know what they're doing on the show. They out there. I really think that sometimes I think they show once 5-on-5, but some people, it's just like a basketball team. All right, let's be here. This the Lakers shouldn't be the ninth seed who they have on their team, right? At all. Sometimes things look good on paper, but when they actually get in the game, it is not good at all.
Yeah.
And so they might have looked good on paper. They might even look, because some of these things people can put on fronts or facades and give the right answer. Some people just know what to say and how to say it. They should be good, but I don't know. For some reason, I think they still end up married somehow. But
I do too.
I do too.
I still think, I don't think she wants to go anywhere, and he don't want to go anywhere. And I think she's just going, you know what? Because when you look at her, and when they're not talking about cooking, she really likes this dude.
Yeah.
She's really into Elijahuan. And the only issue they really have, per se, don't say nothing about West. Look, I'm a Laker fan. I'm hurting right now. I'm a Laker fan. All right. But get the channel. Oh man, whole other podcast. She really likes this. She really likes this dude, and she really, if it wasn't for the whole situation about the cooking thing, I think they would be further along. Much further along. So if he can get past that, I think they can work. But I don't know if he can get past that.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope like by the end of it, we have seen a change from his ideas, his conversation with her, from both of them, but also seeing a more involvement in the marriage from Katina.
Yes.
Because right now she just seems to be a do girl. Because even with the date that she came up with, I was like, why is everything catered to him? Why isn't anything catered to her?
Yeah, the only activity that he set up for them to do was to go to the gym.
And
he got cussed out.
He set up the dinner
food thing too.
But that was to show her how to cook something for him. That was centered around something for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's like weird.
I think we'll see for the anniversary if he can do something for her. I think next episode is 1 month anniversary, whatever. We can see. Like the horseback riding was for him because he said that was something he ain't never did before, and she didn't want to do it. So you're right, Tommy. Everything has been for him. Same thing if you go to other relationships, Jasmina and Michael. You never seen her doing it. Well, she did the gym thing for him, but
it wasn't really for him. That was kind of like a dig too.
Yeah. So I like to see different things done, for her. Yeah.
Yeah.
And she, and I know I see someone in there comment ADHD people can be hyper focused. I've worked with ADHD people. They are hyper focused. To me, I'm not the fact that he hyper focused or he wants to be clean. It's the way you communicate it. And I think that's what everybody's thing is, how you communicate it and not expect that person to do everything, because it seems like he doesn't do anything. Right. And so he complained about sweeping the floor. It is not hard to sweep the floor, get a dustpan, put that bad boy up and go to bed. And honey, you know what? I know you're tired. I understand. You were sleepy or you was tired from the party. I swept the floor. Love you. Good night. It's just about the communication. And it's the way is the delivery, how you say it, and what you can get your point across without barking.
Yeah.
You can get your point across without making her feel like she's a slave. You can get your point across without having her in tears and crying and making her feel like she's not worthy. I think she said, I don't feel like living up to somebody else's standards. This young lady feel like she's not even worthy enough or enough to be your wife. And I think that's what the difference is. Not what you're saying, it's how he's breaking her down. Yeah. You said she's not even an adult. What you mean? I've been adulting before I even married you, right? I've been 34? She's 34. I've been adulting for a long time.
Oh, right.
And so don't get mad at me because your student loan is paid off and you got a house, right? That's fine. Okay, help me in this area. If you think I'm not, help me. If I'm not right, help me in this area. You know,
like it's crazy that they don't look at marriage as being. I have a forever like partner. Like if I was to go outside to play basketball, I can play 2-on-2. You know,
right?
Or for a more practical thing, if I was gonna play spades, I have a partner to play spades with,
Yes.
and I don't have to look for one. You
Me
know,
neither.
I have one. So it's like look at it from that standpoint. You have a partner now.
Mm-hmm.
Partner with this person.
Mhm.
Don't like try to show there's an hierarchy to what you guys are doing. Right.
Like Pastor Cal told Michael and Jasmina, I'm not your enemy.
Right.
Right.
Like I don't think Jasmina paid attention to that.
She ain't paying attention to anything.
I think she tried it.
She reneges.
Yeah, she
You
reneged.
take her off the table. You get another partner.
Comments of the day, man. Oh man, she be reneging all the time, just lying.
Oh man.
We never play spades together.
Oh, that is too funny, man.
That is funny. Oh man, but I don't know about them. I don't know, man. Before we get out here, closing thoughts on this past episode of Married at First Sight, where we saw the guys kind of rate their marriages, and your closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts. Noy and Steve. Noy's views need to like really soften on what like they're coming in with an idea, and that idea is not matching up with reality. And because of that, she's like a hard yes or no. And she needs to soften with that. Lindsey needs to listen. Jasmina needs to listen. Like Jasmina needs to get out of her own way, and be a lot slower to anger and frustration, and more and faster to understanding, or even just asking more for more clarity on what's being said. Which in this episode, Michael was fairly clear on what he was trying to say, and them figuring out they don't trust each other because she don't create a safe space for him, and she doesn't feel like he cares about her. I get that, so run with that. And who else is it? Elijahuan and Katina. Katina just needs to step up and say what's on her mind.
I do think that Katina needs to be more vocal in that relationship. I think Lindsey needs to be less vocal in her relationship. Jasmina and Michael, I want somebody to show Jasmina what she looks like, because I don't know if we're missing something and they're editing it for us to get a certain viewpoint of her, but what we're seeing is the exact thing that she's saying he is, and I just don't know how she can move past that. If Steve got some money, he might need to go ahead and tell Noy what it is, because I think that might help her out a little bit with the anxiety that she has. But I also think that Steve is going to have to accommodate Noy's childhood trauma about money. In some way, shape, form, or fashion. I don't know how you can do it. That's something that they have to figure out, but she definitely has some childhood trauma about money, and they got to figure it out. I guess that's everybody, right?
Yeah, I think so. Listen, Chris, I'm kidding.
Bruno.
We told somebody to do it. I'm talking about Bruno. See that movie a lot. Boy. I want to ask you J Dub's question, man. Steve was a black man. I think me personally, I still we have the same conversation. If he was a black guy, that he has enough money saved up, let him ride out and let him do what he needed to do. I think a lot of people will have a different narrative. Other people that other than black men will have a different narrative if he was a black man.
That was something I brought up too in our review of that. Was that's not acceptable for a black man to do?
Nah, it's not acceptable.
That would be frowned upon.
Yes,
big time.
Yeah. People talk about him like a dog.
But it's that's I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry we was at the end, but I just got to say this.
Remember Michael from DC? We said that for Michael from DC.
Michael was lying. Michael lied the whole time, though.
But he didn't have no job, though. He did lie, but he lied about his job.
Lying to this girl, man.
Lied about every job he had. He was a principal. I just got a phone call. He lied about being a masseuse. So if Steve was Michael just lied out. He just flat out lied about every job he had. That's why old girl couldn't be with him. But if he was a black dude, I think the narrative would be different.
Absolutely.
About a lot of people.
Absolutely.
Even if he had so many N-words.
Yeah, he'd be N-word.
Everybody.
Look at this lazy so-and-so.
Yeah.
And again, I know in my house, Steve doesn't get a pass. Not in here. Jack doesn't give Steve a pass. If Noe go to work, Steve should go to work. If he got money saved up or not, because if you ain't comfortable enough to retire your spouse, then we both need to go to work.
Then we ain't got enough money.
Then we
need to do some work.
And we need to do some work.
We ain't got enough money.
The issue is that it's an unknown.
Right.
And I'm saying, if I got enough money to do that, I don't want to tell you because I don't know you.
Right.
I would just think that Noy would ask, like, the conversation, it wouldn't be something that lingers so long. If it bothered me so bad, like, yo, like, what's your plan? Like, because that's all he needs to do. This is what I plan to do, and this is how I make my money. Or I got this saved up. I understand it's 3 weeks, but they're married trying to make a decision. This could possibly be the reason why they don't make it.
Right.
It's because I don't have a way to guarantee that if I don't have, or if something happens to me, that he will be able to take care of everything. Because in Noy's mind, everybody works.
Well, she also said that with Dr. Viviana, because Dr. Viviana said, what if the financial situation was Steve does not need to work? She was like, my husband needs a job.
Good.
That's why I was like, you just have to sit down and figure out, what does my husband need a job looks like? Does that look like I work part-time? Does it look like I work full-time? Does it look like I need to go back into whatever career path I had, making 6 figures? You just have to figure that out.
Right. And I'm looking at what is J-Dub, what he said, like Noah had asked for a plan, he finally said house husband. And that's what that has to be, that can't be something he makes up. You know what I'm saying? He can't just be like, all right, I'm gonna come in this thing and be a house husband. That's something you guys have to agree on in a marriage. Now, if he was by himself, you can do whatever you want to. Or if you boyfriend and girlfriend, you do whatever you want to. But at the end of the day, because you guys are married, then you have to come to the agreement that, okay, I do this, I'm going to be the house husband. Or, I'm going to be around the house. I'm going to take care of the things around the house. But it has to be an agreement between both of them. It can't be just a decision, because the one that goes to work all day is going to get tired of looking at the one that doesn't.
Right.
Because the ideal of, I'm keeping the house clean. Well, I can keep the house clean by myself.
Yeah. I think you said something that was there. The two have to agree. Two have to become one. You said something earlier about partnership. It becomes a company. The company of Tom or whatever. Your company, your last name, the company of Noy. Was it Moy?
Yeah.
The company of Moy, right?
Yeah.
Company of Moy. What does a company of Moy looks like, right? She can be the CEO, you the CFO, right? Whatever case may be. And so now, how do we continue to make this company grow? And when we start having kids, if I lose my job, right? Because we're in a pandemic, anything can happen today or tomorrow. They can say, you know what? We're closing your company down, blah, 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 blah. If I lose my job, where do we go from here? How much do we have to sustain? What can we be taking care of, right? So how can all this be managed if you don't have? If I get pregnant and can't work, right? I'm a high risk pregnancy. What happens? So these are all the questions that she have to ask him, and he has to be thinking about, okay, if that does happen, what do I do? Is my freelancing enough? But like I said earlier in the beginning part, for those who came in, for the people who came in late, I think Steve just said, you know what? I did my 4 months. I got invited to Married at First Sight. It's 2 more months. I ain't gonna work. I'm gonna see how this thing works out and see if she loves me, but I ain't got no job. And then when he comes back, you know what? I went back to work. I make about $150,000 a year.
I said he trying to be like one of those contestants on The Biggest Loser, because that's why The Biggest Loser contestants could lose so much and could work out so much. They were on that ranch. That's what they did. So yeah, that's what my husband said. It's like that. So his thing is, okay, so if I don't have any other distractions, my main focus can be on the marriage, and I can do that. No, sir, I'm gonna need you to do some work. I'm like, no, you know, I know I don't want to go back because I wasn't here for that part of the conversation, but I told my husband, I was like, I think it's funny how she was like, yeah, Steve don't want to work, and he did not dispute her. Not Steve doesn't want a full-time job. She said Steve doesn't want to work, and he just sat there. I would have been like, no, I want to work. I just don't want to work for somebody. He said nothing. That's a problem for me. Man don't work. Man don't eat.
I mean, but not wanting to work and still doing it. Two different things. A lot of people don't dream of going to work every day.
Right.
But they still do it.
Right.
I guess that's just the thing is Steve getting a job is just as rigid for Noy as 3 kids. Must have 3 kids. Steve must have a job. And it doesn't matter how much money he makes or what he can do, like what his earning potentially is outside of a regular job. Because if we look at people who, let's just take YouTube for an example. People that have YouTube channels Jackie Aina, we know she making money. She's got millions and millions of subscribers. Nobody's sitting there telling her she needs to go get a job.
Right.
But she doesn't have a job. So it's like we don't know what Steve's income is and what he's doing to earn money because she's fixated on Steve needs a job. That's literally all Noy is saying is Steve needs a job. What if him going to work is inhibiting him from making more money? We don't know. And I think that's the thing is like, I'm being the devil's advocate of the unknown because we don't know. Steve is just like, look, I'm cool. And all I can do is believe that he's cool. He hasn't proven himself to be a liar as of yet.
Right. We obviously see that in the Black community, we're like, no.
Right.
You need to do something. But I mean, I get it. Like, that's the way I look at it. Like, hey, maybe you quit your job, but you gotta go find to do something. What's your plan? Yeah. As we say, what's your POA? What's your plan of action?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. If you have that, you'll be all right. And just follow the plan. You want to go to school? Okay, cool. We can cover that. But gotta give me a POA. Can't just say I don't want to work. I got enough. No, you can't say that because that's not goals. That's not what we're moving towards.
And that's what we're missing.
Yeah.
And what she's missing too is the plan that he has.
Right.
But
what's the goals?
And hers is just, I think hers is just so rigid in must have job. And that's where the confusion lies because she's like, you must have a job. And he's like, I don't really need one.
Steve is
right. And I think we talked about that before. We got to get the definitions. Are you hung up on him having a job, like being an employee, or is it about work? Because I'm not hung up on that. I'm hung up on the work. And the work meaning you contribute to the household. Mm-hmm. So let's say it like that. I want you to contribute to the household financially because I appreciate the contribution when it comes to food and cleaning. But I would that way too, both of us have a say in what happens with the finances. Because sometimes when only one person contributes to the finances, it minimizes the other person's voice. Mm-hmm. You know, and they can dictate, hey, Steve, you do not want to be getting no allowance from Noah. Come on, man.
Oh, no.
Contribute, bring something. So but that needs to be, you know, I want you to work. You don't necessarily have to be an employee. That's fine with me. But again, tell me what the plan is. And then, like I said, at least once a week, I should see you doing something in the way of working, Mr. Freelance. And I know they have dry periods or something, but even if you don't have something going on right then, I should see you honing your craft. I should see you doing something. And it's like she don't see him doing nothing.
Or the things that he is doing is BS to her.
Right.
It's J-Dub 110%. If he was black, it'll be a different conversation.
Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely 100%.
Absolutely.
Clicks and views. Is it storyline being pushed by production? I think it is. I like I think the storyline is being pushed by production. I think he's gonna move because it comes up every blue moon. They still have good moments. If she was really that mad about it, she wouldn't be in so much love with him.
But I don't think she's bad at all.
But that's a red flag, though.
Yeah.
Like just getting into a relationship with a person. Let's take marriage out of it, right? Let's get into a relationship with a person, and a person straight up tells you, "I don't want to work."
You dating over, dog. If we was dating,
right? That's a done deal. I'm not finna put myself in no situation like that.
And that's male or female.
Right.
Because let's say that too. Because guys, I know you don't want to be with no woman that just sit around all day.
Unless you're alive. Yeah.
but still, that she cooking and cleaning. She ain't sitting around all day. But yeah, no, ain't nobody trying to do that.
No. But like I said, they thrown in a unique situation, and which is this experiment here. And it's like, okay, we have to date, we married, but we're really dating but married. And so let's fix this unique situation together.
I hope they can get it together. I'm because I like them together. I like that. Somebody said in the comments that Steve is really articulate about everything except finance. So, but really, I think Steve is very mature where Noy is not mature, and he can like how he got, how they had that interaction about how she got mad and walked out and everything. So I'm rooting for them. Rooting for them. So that's it.
Rooting for them. Think they should stay married. I think Lindsey and Mark shouldn't stay married, but
they will.
But they will. Katina and O, they need counseling.
But they gonna stay together.
But I think they're gonna stay together as well. Jasmina and Michael,
I don't think so.
She's already checked out. She can't even rate it. She can't even rate the marriage. Even if she would have gave it a 1, I'm like, oh, at least she rated it. But she can't rate it. She don't know where it's at. They're not gonna hate. They're not gonna make it. So it's what it is.
Yep.
Hey, but thank y'all for joining us this week. Katina hit us up in the chat box. We thank you for the conversation. We just enjoy doing this. Hey, appreciate you guys. Appreciate you very much. Again, make sure you subscribe to August Love Story. Make sure you click on their bell notification. Make sure when they give videos, you give them a thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe to Talisa Ray, and make sure you subscribe to Chloe as well. They'll be back with us next week. But please make sure you subscribe and click the bell notification for each one of us. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And y'all have a great afternoon.
Bye, y'all.
Lakers fans out there, let's go Lakers.